First off, I'd like to dedicate this episode to a certain birthday girl. Happy 13th birthday, Hannah! Now, who says we only review new animes? Over the years I've been running this production, I've noticed new kids not knowing their old school anime. I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't educate the masses, now would I? Let's start off with my very first and all-time favorite anime, Sailor Moon, by the manga artist Naoko Takeuchi. This classic title is about a young girl named Usagi Tsukino. If any of you remember the American version, her name was Serena, another poor victim of the American marketing. Anyways, Usagi is a carefree student who'd rather spend her time playing video games and eating than being the typical studying student that every Japanese parent wants. As we see her running to school, she rescues a cat with a crescent moon on her forehead. After she returns home, the cat finds her and introduces herself as Luna, a celestial guardian in search of the Sailor Scouts and her reborn princess of the moon, Serenity. She senses a new power inside of Usagi, so she presents her with a moon pendant, granting her the power to transform into the pretty guardian soldier, Sailor Moon. Naturally, Usagi's a scaredy cat, not wanting to endanger herself, but with the help of the Sailor Scouts and the dashing Tuxedo Mask, she is able to face her fears and save the day. The manga ran for 18 volumes and the series ran for 5 seasons, equaling into 200 episodes. Each season had their own titles and different stories with iconic villains, so since there is so much to cover, I think it's best just to cover each season one by one. In fact, throughout March, we'll be covering everything about Sailor Moon. Welcome to Sailor March Madness! Believe me, there is a lot to cover, so let's start at the very beginning. The first season, which was just called Sailor Moon, introduced the first 5 Sailor Scouts, Tuxedo Mask, and what powers they contain. We start off with our main heroine, Usagi, aka Sailor Moon, who uses the power of the moon to fight. It's anime, don't argue. Then there's her friends known as the Inner Scouts, inner as in the inner planets of the solar system. There's Ami, Sailor Mercury, who can manipulate water. Rei, Sailor Mars, who controls fire. Makoto, Sailor Jupiter, who harnesses the power of lightning. Minako, Sailor Venus, who's pretty much a fighting goddess of love. And then there's Mr. Earth himself, Mamoru, aka Tuxedo Mask. Whenever the scouts are in danger, Tuxedo Mask throws a rose, distracting the bad guy by making a justice speech, throws his fancy cane around, and then he gives Sailor Moon the cue to finish the job. I don't know what to say about that, cause you got all these baddies attacking celestial soldiers with awesome powers, and it's all silenced by a single rose. Is that extreme flower power or just lame? Anyways, the main scenario starts thousands of years ago when a great war between the Earth and Moon occurred, with the evil Queen Beryl controlling the Earth. Serenity, the Queen of the Moon, used the Imperial Silver Crystal to silence Beryl and send the children of Earth and the Moon to be reborn in the future. It is now modern-day Japan, and Queen Beryl is back for revenge and to take Earth again by finding the Silver Crystal. To help her evil deeds, she uses the 4 generals of Earth, Jadeite, Nephrite, Zoisite, and Kunzite. Okay, Americans, they kept Jadeite and Zoisite, but they changed Nephrite into Nephlite, and Kunzite into Malachite. They just sound more evil, right? Ooh! Try as they might, the Sailor Scouts were able to get their hands on the Silver Crystal first, and they find the Princess of the Moon, Serenity. Oh, who didn't see it coming? Usagi finds out that she's the Princess of the Moon Kingdom, and Mamoru was the Prince of Earth, Endymion. As forbidden as it was, Endymion and Serenity fell madly in love with each other. This was another plot of revenge for Beryl, since she was in love with Endymion too. Awkward. As everyone remembers who they were, Beryl takes Tuxedo Mask away from the Scouts and turns him evil. Oh no, she didn't! As the world faces an apocalypse, the Sailor Scouts head to the icy cold Arctic to face Beryl. One by one, however, the Inner Scouts are taken out by Beryl's traps, leaving Sailor Moon alone to face Beryl. Oh, you didn't know? Yeah, the whole thing with the Scouts distracting the monster so Sailor Moon can go on ahead was an American cover-up. They died, guys. The Inner Scouts sacrificed themselves to protect Sailor Moon, and they died. Yeah, we know American kids can't handle death, so they gotta cover it up. Tell that to Wizardmon. Sailor Moon makes her way to Queen Beryl, who orders Mamoru in his old prince armor to fight Sailor Moon. Dude, You have a sword in this form. Why couldn't you use that in your tuxedo? You know what? I'm just overanalyzing this. Through true love, Sailor Moon is able to rescue Mamoru from Queen Beryl's evil grasp. Well, first she kind of cut him in half in defense, but at least he can die a good guy. Another cover-up! Beryl retreats to higher ground as she fuses into her ultimate form. Sailor Moon powers up and becomes Princess Serenity, and the ultimate showdown occurs. A touching moment occurs as the ghosts of the Sailor Scouts come forth to lend Sailor Moon their powers to help stop Beryl. Where were you, Mask Boy? Beryl is defeated and Sailor Moon wins the day. Oh yeah, she dies too. America likes to cover up that stuff, don't they? Thankfully, the Silver Imperial Crystal was able to resurrect our heroes, and they're sent back to their lives not remembering a damn thing. Sure, just when Sailor Moon was maturing in her role, she forgets everything and becomes that whiny, lazy bum we all love. Kudos to us. Now that I've gone over the first season, let's go over what we get from this show. For starters, let's talk about the main character. There are a lot of arguments with Usagi being the main hero. I mean, the others can prove they can fight better than her and can handle some situations more mature than her. Still, isn't this a little different approach to the typical hero? I think Usagi was made to resemble most of us as regular students just trying to get by in school while trying to enjoy life. How else would you react if all of a sudden you were given superpowers and you were obligated to fight? Sure, it'd be cool to have powers, but why all of a sudden should I have to fight these monsters? You have the power! You have to fight them! You are Sailor Moon! Yeah, I'd be pissed off too. This is why I defend her as a character. She may get whiny and annoying, but she seems more realistic compared to some superheroes. This season also had a few controversies with the characters and more cover-ups. I'll lighten up, America. Number 1. Now I can understand this coverage since it was an easy switch, but come on! You changed Zoisite, one of the 4 generals, into a woman. Not kidding! Zoisite is the flamboyant general who kinda has a thing for kunzite. To make sure kids wouldn't get confused, they changed his gender. I think this is why they air most animes at night now, since they can't always walk around this kind of stuff. This upsets some fans out there, and believe me, this wasn't their only gender bender in the franchise. I also don't like how they characterize him in the fanfictions and such. Just because he's girly and gay with kunzite while he's evil, doesn't mean he was like that before. FYI, these guys used to serve Prince Endymion as his loyal protectors. Sailor Moon has her girls, Endymion had his men. Because of his girlish habits as a bad guy, he was forever marked as that gay, flamboyant character. Not cool for Mercury, people. The way I see him as a good guy would be more like a Tamaki personality. Can't you see that? The prince-like character Zoisite with the bookworm beauty Ami. Doesn't that fit better? Number 2. Throughout the manga and in the games Sailor Moon Another Story, we find out that the 4 generals had legitimate feelings for the 4 Inner Scouts. Jadeite with Mars, Nephrite with Jupiter, Zoisite with Mercury, and Kunzite with Venus. True fans of the franchise, Amanda, fell in love with these pairings. Sadly, however, the author kills them off. This truly pissed us off. With their souls encased in earth and rocks like their names, there is a chance they could return and give those Sailor Scouts some good lovin'. But no! She will never bring them back to serve Endymion. If that would happen, it'd be the most epic thing ever! It's just frustrating. Sailor Moon gets her man. Why can't the other girls be happy? Well, if you read the manga, I think Miyako was trying to go for a Mercury x Jupiter and Mars x Venus thing. So pretty much since their men are encased in stone forever, they resort to each other for some Yuri love. You sicken me, Naoko. Number 3. If you ever got your hands on the original episodes, you noticed that there were some episodes never aired in America. For example, in the second episode, some of the male students in Usagi's school were turning into scumbags, treating women like skanks. One of them actually flipped the teacher's skirt open. We can't be showing sexist-stained baddies on here, now can we? In episode 5, these cute bunny-like creatures became just as popular as Furbies, making every kid want them. Anyone who had them would turn into jerks who would just do nothing but adore their new pets. Why was this episode removed? Because Usagi's little brother kicks Luna. You heard me, he kicks a cat. They probably removed this episode for one or both reasons. Number 1, it encourages animal violence. Number 2, PETA would blow up their building. Yeah, they blow up buildings. And then there's episode 42, Sailor Venus's Past. Before Sailor Venus joined the Scouts, she was in London as Sailor V. Yay, crimes can happen outside of Japan. During her stay, she hangs out with her new friend Katerina and falls in love with a British man, Alan, little knowing that they actually loved each other. Why was this never shown in English? I don't know. This is why I respect companies like Funimation. They translate everything in anime and don't censor it whatsoever. Still, this show was marketed towards kids, so of course the FCC had to have their way here and there. There's only one benefit to this. Those of us who watched the English show first and then got the original copies got a few more episodes to watch. Bonus! Sailor Moon and her scouts are the queens of transformations that made their own mark in the anime world. Even after 20 years, this story is still known today and beloved by fans old and new. Sure, it's cheesy nostalgia, but what's wrong with that? Like most classics we look back on, Sailor Moon can get confusing with its plot holes and cheesy story, but that doesn't mean it's bad. There are 4 more seasons to look over, so for now, go back to episode 1 and enjoy this anime classic, Sailor Moon. This was only part 1 of the Sailor March Madness. I hope you're ready for more. In the meantime, you can look us up on Facebook for more updates on our projects and such. Just go to our Facebook page and like us. If you wish to support our production by purchasing our merchandise, just go to www.cafepress.com/AnimeAmericaPodcast. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned to Anime America.